that is metallurgy. Today we will start our 9th chapter, that is carbon compounds. So students, in last year in 9th standard you have learned about the carbon. So all its properties you know very well. Carbon is tetravalent, its atomic number is 6, its electronic configuration is 2, 4. As it behaves like a non-metal. Everything we have seen in the last chapter. Once again we will revise it. From this chapter we have to study about the carbon compounds. What two types of mainly compounds you found in your surrounding? The compounds mainly are of organic and inorganic types. And the definition of organic inorganic compounds you have seen in the previous classes, and we have called that is organic compounds. All of the organic compounds containing mainly a common element called carbon. That's why carbon containing compounds we can call that is organic, and without carbon having element, other elements only have such compounds which are not containing carbon, we can call that is inorganic compounds. So this is the general definition of we have made in the related with the carbon. The compounds containing carbon are called organic compounds, and the compounds not containing carbon are called inorganic compounds. Again, what you know about the carbon? Carbon, its symbol is capital C. Its atomic number is 6. As its atomic number is 6 means it containing 6 electrons. So its electronic configuration becomes 2, 4. As in the last shell it containing 4 electrons, so we can call it as a tetravalent element. We have called carbon is an tetravalent element. It has choices. It can donate the 4 electrons and behave like the hydrogen, or it can accept the 4 electrons and behave like a helium. This it can behave like inert gases by donation and acceptance of electron. But both ways are too difficult. That's why most of the compounds formed by the carbon are done with the covalent bonds, and the covalent bonds are the chemical bond which are done by sharing of electrons. How? That we will see in your today's period. Then see, its valency is 4, its symbol is capital C, it is called as tetravalent, it behaves like a non-metal, and we will see some bonds formed by the bonds in carbon compounds. Bonds in carbon compounds. So how the chemical bonds formed by the carbon compound? As chemical bonds mainly are of two types. Chemical bonds mainly are of two types. Which are those, dear students? One is ionic bond and another is covalent bond. In the chapter metallurgy, you have studied about the ionic bonds. So ionic bonds are the formed by the two oppositely charged ions, that is cation and anion. So these two oppositely charged, positively charged ion and negatively charged ion have strong force of attraction. That's why ionic bonds are too strong. So for overcoming this bond or for breaking down this bond, we need too much amount of energy. So we need to heat that compound at a high temperature. That's why we can break their bond. So its melting points and boiling points of the ionic compounds are too high. As compared to covalent bonds or the compounds formed by the covalent bonds having comparatively lesser melting and boiling point. Why? Because covalent bond is formed by the donation and acceptance of electron, and the bond form is too strong. While covalent bond formed by only the sharing of electrons, so it can easily breakable. So carbon compounds mostly form in the covalent type of bonds. And if you have compared some carbon compounds and if you have observed their melting and boiling points, you can see that carbon compounds generally have low melting and boiling points. We will see them. So here are some carbon compounds. You can observe their melting and boiling points are too low. So comparatively we can say that the ion compounds made up of ionic bonds, they have high melting and boiling points, and generally all carbon compounds have less melting point than the 300 degrees Celsius. Near about all carbon compounds having lesser melting and boiling point. And another concept or of the property we have seen about the ionic compound, that is in their molten or fused state. They are the good conductor of electricity. Ionic compounds in their molten or fused state are good conductor of electricity. But what about the carbon compounds? Urea, glucose, like carbon compounds, their electrical conductivity we have seen in some activities, and we found that they are the bad conductor of electricity as they don't have any free electrons. They are not making ions, so they are not the good conductivity or conductor of the electricity. So somewhat about the carbon compounds you have known. Carbon compounds have low melting and boiling points, and they are the bad conductor of electricity. How the carbon compounds are formed, that we will discuss now. How the carbon compounds are formed. So for the formation of carbon compounds, carbon have three choices or three routes. See, its atomic number is 6, electronic configuration is 2, 4. In last shell it containing 4 electrons. So these 4 electrons it can donate and behave like a helium. It having only 2 outermost electrons. It is stable noble gas. Otherwise, it can accept the again 4 electrons from another elements and behave like a 2, 8 electronic configuration like a neon gas. So which route it will follow, that we will discuss. So first route to form the carbon compound is likewise to attain the configuration like helium by donation of 4 electrons. So listen, it is only in the second shell. So these 4 electrons are strongly bonded with the nucleus. And to lose this 4 electron required more amount of energy. It is not easy to carbon to lose this 4 electron and convert it to C4 plus ions. So it is very difficult task. This route is not possible for the carbon atom. Another route to attain the electronic configuration like neon gas and for accepting 4 mu electrons from the other elements, which is also very difficult task. To accept 4 mu electrons and forming 4 negative charge ions, it is really not stable for the carbon. It is the difficult task for the carbons. It will not choose this route also. Third route which is suitable for the carbon, that is it will share its 4 last electron, its nucleus, first shell and second shell. First shell containing 2 electrons, second shell containing 4 electrons. It will share the next 4 electrons with the other elements and forming the 4-4 valent bond, which is the convenient route for the carbon for forming the carbon compounds.